have more than 50% of the members here, so I'm going to declare that we have a quorum. 4 out of 7 ain't bad. All right, first on the agenda is the outstanding meeting minutes, and Mike this afternoon provided us with another copy. So we have February, March, and I believe it's April now. Has anybody looked at them? They've been out there for a while.
I looked at the February, March meeting, but I didn't look at the ones that I just got a minute ago.
The April is new.
5:22 wasn't a minute ago, but I wasn't at my computer, so I didn't see those.
I move that we approve February, March as written.
Right.
Okay, so February and March, we have a motion to approve those. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The action. And do we want to take some time to review April's, or do we pass that off till next month?
I haven't had a chance to read them myself, so.
Okay. So let us postpone the April minutes until next month. And that takes care of the first item. Okay, the next one is the one I anticipate, the one that we'll be spending the most time on, is the Pratt Mill and Wildwood sampling plans. And there's a lot of moving parts to go with those plans. Mike also provided with us a cost breakdown of the sampling plans, and that will help inform a lot of what we need to talk about as we move along. We haven't formalized the sampling plans. I've sent the map for Wildwood in particular, with the 5 different sampling spots that I've just randomly picked. There's been a couple of suggestions to add a couple more. So W4 is now in the Cove area where the infeed from Dairy Drive comes in, and W5 is located right by on the east side of the island, close to where Gary's house is. That's the only point of reference I really have. It's to the Touchstone Island is on the western side, and just some residences on the eastern side that would butt up against Wildwood Ave. Did I annotate the map with the GPS coordinates on that? I don't have it up in front of me. If not, I can update that and send that on to everybody. Go ahead, Mike.
I just have a question. So W5 is, if you're looking upstream, W5 is on the right-hand side of the?
Correct. W2 is on the left-hand side of the island.
W4, I mean.
W4 would be below W2. It's on the left-hand side, or I believe it's the west side. The west side of Wildwood, close to the railroad tracks.
Okay. So, I guess I would suggest, well, I don't know how much I want to get into this right away, but I don't know. I would probably prefer to do W4 rather than W5, W2 and W4. Because I think most of the flow probably goes to the left-hand side of the island. I don't know. How deep is W5?
It's about 9, almost 10 feet.
Oh, okay. Well,
So there is a channel in there.
Okay. They're fine. I mean, that's fine. They're also doing, you're doing is DO and temperature on W4, right?
Yes. And we had also considered that as a grab site for runoff, but I think we wanted to go closer to the actual infill or infeed where it comes out from underneath the railroad tracks. Lori, you were about to interject something?
Yeah, we have to make some choices, right? We can't do everything because of costs.
Yeah, yeah.
The DO, the pH, the dissolved solids, I can sample, we can sample every single site for those every single month because we get those readings right then and there. They don't cost us anything. Where the real crunch is going to come into picking the how many samples and where we're getting them from. But what I'd like to put to bed is, are these sampling sites, does anybody have any changes they would like to see, alternate sampling sites? We Wildwood right now is brand new to us. We can change things if we need to, if we want to, or if the sampling sites as that we've kind of thrown darts at the pond, and when we have them now are adequate, if everybody thinks they're adequate, and we'll lock in on those.
Oh, have I lost you?
No, we're still here.
Oh,
You're
good.
wearing a
All
purple
right.
look like you were looking at the
All
map.
my pictures are gone. There's nothing on my screen. Big black rectangle.
Mhm.
What are you guys looking at? Are you looking at all of us, or you have something up there?
Yeah, we're all looking at each other.
Okay. I have nothing on my screen except a big black rectangle. I don't know what to do.
Might want to log out and try again.
I guess so. All right, bye.
Okay, I'll see it.
Mike, do you have the cost analysis that you
Yeah,
can share with us?
I can share that whenever you guys want to see it. Yeah,
Let's
and
wait till Lori comes back.
it's a Excel spreadsheet, so we can remove stuff and instantly see the cost implication. Oh, Lori, can you see us now?
I can see you now.
Okay, so Dave was just talking. I'm going to try to share the spreadsheet, the cost spreadsheet.
And there it is.
Oh, you can see it. How's the magnification?
Can you blow it
Okay,
up just a little bit?
if you make your screen big, it's good.
Dave, you want a little bit more?
It's not
Yeah, if you
mine.
could zoom in on that just a touch.
Mm,
The Zoom option was unavailable. Okay, we'll deal with
yeah,
it.
why is it? Oh, it's my, I wonder if this is not gonna. All right, well, obviously, you know, the two costs, let's just see what you, can you see that I switched to Pratt?
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay, good, at least, and you can see I switched back to Wildwood.
yes.
So you see, we've got about right now around $17,000, and our
yeah.
budget is,
I was looking at that earlier today. If we do all the testing that is on this spreadsheet, it comes up to almost $17,000. We have enough in the budget to do all the testing for Pratt for the remainder of this year, and we wouldn't have any test, be able to do any testing in Wildwood. One really important point to make is it doesn't allow us to do any testing through June of 2026. So we're going to have to really pare down this sampling list in order to save some funding to do probably April, May, and June testing for next year, if we want to continue testing next year.
yeah, just to note, the article was $7,500, and then we also have $1,000 in the line item budget that we could spend. But that could also be spent on other things other than testing. What I'd like to do is, I guess the first thing I'd like to suggest, I'm thinking about this a little bit, is unless Dave, you met with TRC. Did you talk with them at all about nitrogen sampling when you met with them?
We did talk about nitrogen sampling, and they said yes, it can be helpful. It's another data point,
Mm.
but they seem to feel pretty strongly that they get more information from total P rather than an N2.
Yeah, that would be my feeling too. I think if we were on the Cape and studying a salt pond, nitrogen would be very important. But we're not on the Cape. It's not a salt pond. So I think what I'd like to suggest is that we just basically zero out nitrogen. What I can do, are there any objections to doing that?
I am all for getting the more useful information rather than the nice to have. If we're going to get more useful information with total phosphorus than with nitrogen, that would be my suggestion, is to eliminate things that are not uh, going to really advance it and are just just nice to haves.
Okay, I agree. So if there's no objection, we can certainly play with this spreadsheet, but I'm gonna I just deleted nitrogen.
What is TKN? I know Fe is iron, right? But what is TKN?
Total kiljoule nitrogen.
What's that little word?
Kiljoule. It's a it's a procedure where you digest everything in the sample to kind of break down any organic nitrogen to free nitrogen. It's an old procedure. Basically, you cook the hell out of a sample to release all the nitrogen that might be in organic material. So anyway, so that goes down to 7,300. And then the other thing to talk about, well, one thing to talk about, Dave, is whether or not we need to take phytoplankton samples every month. and chlorophyll samples every month? And then also, do we need to take samples from the surface and near the bottom, or could we get by with just at least this first year with just surface?
I was,
Let
yeah,
me finish one other question. I mean, there was some evidence of stratification already, right, in May. I mean, the DO dropped a fair amount from the surface, right?
correct.
So, the situation we had at Pratt last year was kind of interesting. We had the blue-green cyanobacteria. You know, there was probably a mat at the bottom of Pratt Pond. And we wouldn't have known that if we hadn't taken the bottom samples. Phil, and what I was going to suggest is that we whatever we do with plankton, we don't do chlorophyll near the bottom. We may even have to just completely eliminate it because it's fairly expensive. It's $125 a sample. So if there's no objection, at least the next deletion I would suggest is that we take out chlorophyll from the bottom.
Are we going to take nitrogen out of Pratt and Mill?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
But let's just work on Wildwood first, and then we can switch over to Pratt.
I think what I would recommend, and this is, you know, just out of curiosity, is the chlorophyll maybe twice this year. Just total chlorophyll, a single sample. We don't need surface and bottom unless we find something really interesting. We pick a site and sample there, and the phyto maybe 3 times this year. We have an early spring sample. We do a middle of the summer, a July or August sample, and then one in the late fall in October. We pick a site and we sample. Just, I think that would give us more information. It would definitely give us more information than what we have right now.
I think I'd agree with that. The only thing I'd suggest is maybe we see the cyanobacteria blooms don't usually kick in early in the season. So if we want to increase our chance of seeing a cyanobacteria bloom, I might suggest like June, August, October, and not May.
Do you think that Wildwood is more prone to cyanobacteria than
there was one there last
Pratt
year
because it's deeper? It's less deep than Pratt.
I don't know what, I don't know either, but what we do know, there was Gary saw a bloom there
The
last
bloom.
year, and we, you know, at surface. So, I mean, does that sound all right to everybody?
It does, yeah.
June, August, October. All right, so let me do some eliminating here. You know, the other thing we can do is just once we have TRC on board, we can pick their expertise a little bit. So that gets us down to 5100. And then the other thing is if we what about do we just want to do we want to do surface and bottom? Or do we want to maybe do surface and bottom just at one sample? Which was deeper, W2 or W5?
W2.
How deep is W2 roughly?
W2 goes down to 12 feet.
Okay. So since we've got resource limitations, I'd suggest we don't do the bottom at least at W5. Is that all right with everybody?
Agree with that?
Get rid of that. Okay. We're getting down to 40. And then the other question is the chlorophyll. I personally would say just do it at the surface if we do it at all.
And just going back to my recommendation, I would think I would only recommend doing that twice this year.
Okay. I'm just getting rid of it. And so which months do you think did you want to do it?
Well, we're in June now, so I would do a chlorophyll in June. And going back to what you were alluding to earlier, because let's call it the mainstream of Wildwood would be closer to the W2 location. We just picked W2 as the sampling site for chlorophyll.
Okay. So we'll take them out. We won't do W chlorophyll. And then well, you know what? Can we just maybe stop here for a moment? So we're at around $3,000. And now if you want, we could go to Pratt. Is that okay? Everybody?
Let's pause
You
here.
you
Yeah,
have one chlorophyll sample at 5 that you can delete.
Oh, right. Thank you. Yeah.
Remember.
Thanks, Bill. You're right. The other thing just thinking out loud here is if, well, never mind. I'll pass on that. So, all right. So it's, okay. So that's that. And then, going to Pratt right now, we have, 7,300. I assume it's okay to get rid of nitrogen. Does anyone have a problem with that? Yeah, all right.
again, it's nice to have information, but I think the total P is going to be more useful.
Yeah, it's about $100 a sample for nitrogen too. So you add them all together. All right.
So in this case, you didn't delete iron, you deleted it at Wildwood. Is that intentional?
Oh wait, did I delete iron?
Yes, you took iron out at
That
Wildwood.
was a mistake because we should actually add that back in. Thanks,
Yeah,
Bill.
and
Because I'll tell you
the
why.
only iron samples I took were at the bottom because everything I was reading was, I guess, standard is they take the iron readings close to the bottom.
That's true. We could certainly do that. The only thing, if you have it top and bottom, then you can compare the two. And assume if it's anaerobic, the iron should be higher near the bottom. And that iron is high because it's under aerobic conditions, it's bound to phosphorus. And then under anaerobic conditions, the phosphorus is released from the iron. And so both the phosphorus and the iron go up.
So,
I mean, I would just do,
doing on the same schedule as the Phyto?
maybe, well, actually, let's, if you don't mind, let me just put iron back in, and then we can certainly tweak that. This is gonna I copy it. It's the shading is going to get messed up, so I think I just
Yep.
need to type them in. And you know, the iron could be kind of optional if it's doesn't look like if it's stratified at all, and you know the DO levels remain high near the bottom, then there's no point in doing iron. So, all right. So that gets us up to 3,100, 3,200. All right. So where are we here with Pratt?
6,000, so 9 something.
Yeah. So one question I had is, do we really need to do anything at Mill?
We do have one set of samples from Mill, but TRC is also going to be doing some work in Mill this year. And I need to get their proposal back out and take a look and see exactly what was in their scope.
Yeah. I don't think there was any analytical work in their scope. Any water quality testing.
I don't.
Um,
I'm gonna have to go back and revisit that.
Well, here's the thought for Mill. Why don't we ditch chlorophyll for Mill?
I can agree with that.
Okay, and then keep the phyto
And-
for the moment.
Again, the frequency of phyto in Mill, because it's so shallow, though I did run into a couple of surprises there when I was out there last week. Over on basically, if you're looking at it from fin and feather, the right-hand side, that seems to be where the stream bed ran. And there, I found a couple of 8-foot spots. Going out to where TRC did their measurements, I think it was about 7 feet, 6 or 7 feet at that spot. And that kind of surprised me because if I remember right, when their samples in 2023, I think they said that was a 5-foot spot. Now, what Jeff at Fin and Feather was telling me is I guess DPW put some spillway boards in at the dam there.
No, actually, it was beavers.
Oh,
Some stuff got stuck there. We think it might be beavers. The DPW didn't add anything.
okay, because the water is deeper. It has covered the flat rock that he uses when he's launching in there, but the water is a good foot up in Mill Pond, and Jeff's quite happy with it. Right, he likes having water in the pond. So that's interesting. But do we need to do phyto sampling in there every month?
Um,
And that's where that long-winded thing was all leading to. Do we need to do
Yeah.
phyto sampling in there?
yeah. I mean, since we know we have that blue-green bloom, I think maybe we could just I would almost like to do it monthly if we can afford it, but we might not be able to afford it. Because follow that. See if the bloom reoccurs at P2 at P oh wait a minute. Is that a
No,
mistake?
I was thinking more of Mill. Do we need the phyto out of Mill for every month?
Okay. Just so you know, I think there's a mistake here. It should be P1 surface and P1 bottom.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, I'll fix that. But okay, so what were you saying, Dave, about mill?
I was asking, do we need the phyto samples out of mill every month?
I think we could forego that just like we did at Wildwood.
Yeah, I was good, maybe, again, we have the early spring sample. We do one in the middle of the summer and then one in late fall. That will certainly save some money.
Okay. So you want to do it in May?
We have one for May. Maybe August. Give the one for August, eliminate the one for July.
Okay. It's in June too, right?
Yes.
How about we
That would
do
give us
September?
4.
Because again, the blue greens tend to show up later in the season.
Yeah.
So we could do May, July, September. And you can also
I can live with
archive
that.
stuff. You can also archive
True,
stuff.
it's good for a year, yeah.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
Okay. So so we got May, July, September, and we'll take out October for now. All right. So that's 4,400 and
4431.
so we're
3,000.
pretty close there. 44 plus, I mean, we're there basically.
75, yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty close to
Does that leave
7,500.
does that leave us anything for the first 3 months, April, May, and June of 2026?
Well,
If we took the total budget and basically divided it in half, 3750 for each pond, um, you know,
we do.
there'd be some residual, at least from the Wildwood side, that we could use in the spring.
Well, we do have that other $1,000 that we haven't touched yet,
True.
and that's fiscal year money that goes away.
Yep.
So theoretically, we could spend
Over
that
to
down, and
the
then
mill side, the Wildwood side, please.
excuse me.
Can you switch back over
Oh,
to
yep,
the Wildwood
yep,
side for a
yep.
second? So combined, the two of them come in at 7612. So we're a little bit over, but again, if we have that other $1,000, that $112 would not going to deplete that fund.
Mhm. And there's one other thing I want to mention. Where is it? Like it's under Pratt. It's this one right here, sampling the beach for cyanotoxins. I think that'd be a really good idea. The cost could be a little bit more than 300. I'm trying to find a lab that will do it for there's a lab that I have quote from is $700, but I'm hoping to find something less expensive than that. But I'm wondering if the Board of Health would kick in for that, because the thought is we know Pratt Pond has a bloom, has a cyanobacteria bloom. Probably the cyanotoxins are concentrated near the bottom of the pond, like the cyanobacteria are. Nice to take at least one sample right at the beach, just to make sure that we're not missing something and people are being exposed. to the toxins, because just to back up a bit, the cyanobacteria secrete a couple of different toxins. Those toxins are, well, they're toxic. There are human health exposure criteria for them.
Is that common to all cyanobacteria, or are there certain species that are more prone to releasing those toxins that could be harmful to humans?
I'm not sure, but the lab I talked to, I told them what species of cyanobacteria we were dealing with was Oscillatoria, and then there was another filamentous one. And given those two genera, they suggested testing for 4 different toxins.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Okay.
and their quote was like $700, and that lab is in Washington State.
Is-
I'm hoping to find something like there's a Connecticut lab that maybe will have a lower price.
well, do we know who the Board of Health is using when they do their E. coli sampling? Or is that the rec
They
department?
were using Rhode Island Analytical Laboratories. I think they're trying to, I talked to Diane earlier this month, and she was trying to set something up with Pace Analytical, which is what the water sewer department uses.
Bill, is Rhode Island the state of Rhode Island lab? Is that?
No, it's a commercial business,
Okay.
Rhode Island Analytical.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a location in Hudson, but for some reason the water sewer department became disenchanted with them and went to Pace. And like I said, I know I was talking to Diane. She was trying to set something up with Pace. She wasn't happy with Rhode Island either.
But we already have a contract with Pace. The town does. I mean, we do.
Yep.
So she could just jump in on that, I think.
I'm assuming that is what's happened or will happen.
And going back to what you were speaking of a minute or so ago, Mike, the testing that they're doing at Kiwanis Beach, they're testing for E. coli. Do we know if the rec department or the Board of Health is aware that we now know that there's cyanobacteria in the pond, and maybe they would want to fund that testing for it?
I don't know what they know, but we could certainly go to a Board of Health meeting and let them know what our concern is, and maybe ask if they wanted to fund it.
I will put that on my docket.
And we can get some more information about cyanotoxins to give to them. My feeling, the Board of Health, is they're not particularly technical. Lori, I mean,
Right, I agree.
those guys.
But this is, I'm thinking that, yeah, they're testing for E. coli, and they had to shut the beach down a couple of times. I don't think it was last summer, but the summer before that, because of blue-green algae blooms. And, that's through the state. But and this is where our information that we've been gathering could be useful to a couple of other different departments. So we have this stuff available, and it could be to the benefit of not just us. Right now, it's information that I think would be very useful to the rec department and Board of Health. That's my 2 cents.
I'll get the exact numbers. I don't ever remember a time it was closed twice. our pond is typically the last one closed when lots of them are closing all across the state where it's unusual for us to be closed. We did have an early cyanobacteria bloom last year, I guess, and it was early. That was different. And then nothing after that. So I'll get the exact data so we know exactly.
Thank you, Lauren. Okay, do we think we need to pare this list down any further? Getting back to the sampling plan.
I just saw a stray iron to remove from mill.
Is there an extra one on mill in September? I see always, it looks like the first one of the grid, except for September, there's one down there by mill of iron.
Fido?
Oh, I took the iron
Chloro.
out.
Oh, it's
So we have
it's-
chlorophyll.
right. See that one? See September? You've got it with P1 surface and mill, and all the other ones you just have it at P1 surface.
Mill Pond in September under chlorophyll. That should be deleted.
Okay. This
Next
one
to
right here.
mill. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And then I see under Fido, you have P1 surface, P1 bottom, and mill on all of them except June. You don't have the mill. Well, oh, I see. Is it every other or something? 'Cause you
Yeah, I
have,
think that's what we did for
okay, mill
for
and then
mill.
not, and then mill and then not, and then mill and then not. Okay, yeah, I see
Yeah, May,
it. Sorry.
July, September.
Yeah.
So then we're down to 4,300 about, and yeah, so we're actually in pretty good shape.
Can I ask it on the Pratt and Mill one? Oh, never mind. Sorry.
How does that disposal charge work?
They for every sample bottle you give to them, they charge $4.
So, for example, in June, there's 4 tests. They all come from one sample jar. The first line, P1.
What number?
Oh, that
Just as an
you're looking
example,
at
so in June and
P1 surface.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that's four different sample charts. Because we're all measuring for different things.
so
the
would that be
phosphorus
4
requires-
disposal
1, 2.
charges?
Well,
Yeah.
that's a good yeah, I think you're right, Bill. I think there'd be a separate, there'd be a charge for both the phosphorus and the iron container, and I'm not sure if there's a cost for chlorophyll or not. That's a different lab, but yeah, you're right. I think
So that is a sum of some number of the tests that are conducted in that line, each line.
yeah. So we can take these out here. I think put in 2 here, I think is safe to do. Good catch on that. Went up a little bit, but
This has significantly changed the amount.
and the other thing, we won't probably have any postage charges because except for the phytoplankton, we'll have, it might be like $10, 12 bucks to ship them to off, but the other ones will be hand delivered.
Are these the ones going to Connecticut?
Yeah, the phosphorus is going to
Some are
Connecticut,
what, some are going to
phosphorus and the
Westboro.
iron.
There's a little gas money there, though. You're going back and forth every month?
I'm not charging the town any mileage for that. I could, but I won't. I won't charge any mileage.
It's every month, right? All
Um,
the way to Connecticut and back.
Probably, yeah. I don't mind. I'll, maybe combine it with a trip to go see Barb's sister. They're pretty close to there. So,
Okay, so for right now, is everybody's comfortable with this sampling plan? Do we have a motion to accept it?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
If things change and prices go up or tariffs get put on them, can we revisit this if we end up having to?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I would never close that out.
Right, okay.
I would never leave that as a closed thing because things change all the time. We've got to be able to respond to them.
Right.
Did everybody get, kind of backtracking a little bit, did everybody get a chance to look at the draft agenda that I sent out last week? And again, we're all part of this committee. So if you've got any, when I send these things out, if you've got any suggestions to change, or you want to add something or subtract something, please feel free to make comments on it. It is just a draft. Okay. Item number 3 on the list was the meeting, the kickoff meeting with Nipmuc Regional High School, their advanced placement environmental sciences kids. I went over there. Today is Monday, so it was Thursday I met with them. There's 3 boys. They're going to be seniors next year, and they're the remaining students in the AP Earth Sciences program right now that Lisa Michael is asking us to work with them on. And one of them lives here in Upton, 2 of them live in Mendon. And we're going to be going out, today's Monday, we're going to be going out Wednesday and start doing some of the sampling. I have a very short window of time with them as far as how much time they can stay in the boat. So the sampling we're going to be doing is going to be pretty much the boilerplate: dissolved oxygen, temperature, pH, total dissolved solids, electrical conductivity. We do have, they have some capabilities that we don't have. Their sensors for the pH and the dissolved solids, they're Bluetooth equipped. And I don't think that they would have the range if we were out on Pratt to reach all the way over to the launch ramp and I don't think they want to take their tablets out in the boat. Nothing good's going to come from that. But we do have the meters that we're measuring DO and temperature. I explained the sciences, the procedures that we're following. But they have a couple of capabilities. They basically have nitrogen sampling, and this is, but basically it's like a litmus paper test. So do we want to try and capture some of that data, Mike, if it's going to be available?
He's not there, yeah.
Oh, he's
Hmm.
there, he just kind of went, who knows?
I mean, well, it won't hurt, if they want to do it, and if they have the resources to pay for the test strips and,
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I think
sure.
it's part of their AP classes. So, uh, I have, but as far as the equipment that we've got with them, I obviously have the life jackets. I have a large supply of nitrile gloves that we'll be using when we're handling the sampling bottles. I have a couple of safety goggles that we can use, safety glasses that we can use. I have not approached the town. I haven't gone to Mike Layton or
No,
Bill Layton. It's a brand new tongue. I'm just learning how to reuse it. I haven't gone to Joe Layton to get concurrence from the town to make sure that we've got everything covered that we're supposed to be. They did get the signed release forms back from all 3 students. So we're covered there. I need to get those from Lisa. She promised to email them over to me so that we got them on file. But I don't have those yet. So I have to ping on her tomorrow. One thing that our pH meter says is that we should be rinsing the probe with RODI water, and they have access, they make their own RODI water. So rinsing the probe is not an issue. My last place of employment, I obtained some RODI water that I was using for charging my batteries. And I still have some on hand, so that's a non-issue, but we're going to be able to access that from Nipmuc. And they haven't really suggested a whole lot as far as other testing that they might want to do. So I don't know how much cost sharing that we might be able to do with the high school as far as sending out our samples. So I'll have to examine that a little bit deeper. Comments, questions, complaints?
what's that RODI? What is that?
Reverse osmosis deionized water. It basically comes out as some of the purest water on earth. There's no dissolved solids in it. It's neutral. It's pH neutral. It's incredibly clean. There's nothing biological in there.
Okay,
It's used a lot for steam generators for sterilizing instruments, and it has all sorts of other analytical and lab uses. But our pH meter recommends rinsing the probe with RODI water. And the phase 2 kickoff meeting, we had that, and Bill, you there. Oh, my ear's about to die. So Anna Chase, Matt Ludwig, Bill and Lori were there. They're going to give us access to their SharePoint site, and we're going to try and send some sort of link so they'll be able to access live site. And I'm about to lose everybody.
And okay. Am I still with you?
Yep.
Oh, good.
you're even more clear now.
Good. So anything we upload to the Google Drive or anything that they upload to the SharePoint Drive, it's going to be replicated on both sites. So we will have access to all of their data, everything that they put in. They'll have access to all of the stuff that we put in. And let's see. They have that. They're looking at a November target date to have their preliminary reports and everything finished. And the proposed management plan, we should be getting that sometime in November. They're looking at starting their field visits very soon, and I asked for them to give me a heads up on when their staff is going to be here at Pratt. I want to meet with them just to, introduce myself and, be nosy. I want to kind of see what's going on with them and what they're actually doing. You were asking about the N2 sampling, and again, it can be useful data, but they're much higher on total phosphorus as far as being more useful than the nitrogen. And if we do any grab sampling of stormwater runoff this year, they said one useful thing to do is try and measure the flow rates. I guess there's a lot of math that goes along with stormwater runoff. They like to know what the flow rate's going in. And one of the culverts that runs in, which is right next to my house here, it's like 50 feet away. Of the 4 that I know of that are on this shoreline of Pratt, that's the only one that I could put a 5-gallon bucket under and time to see how long it fills. The others are all surface level or underwater. What about on the Kiwanis side of the pond? Does anybody know if there's any drainage culverts that are a little more elevated, or are they all like right at the surface?
The drainage pipe that drains onto the beach essentially drains onto a cement pad.
Okay. So there'd be really no way to measure that flow unless we had a flow meter installed or something like that. And we just don't have the money for that.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's all the news from there. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. How about that? Does anybody have any questions, or has anybody thought of any questions that we want to ask TRC before they start sending out their field units?
Well,
Mike,
actually, we talked a little bit about this. The firm that's doing the aquatic weed management plans to do that next week.
Okay.
So I can find out specifically when they'll be treating Pratt Pond, just so they're aware of the timing. And then the sampling you're doing with NIPMUC students, that's at Pratt Pond?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and are you familiar with the access from the small park off of Williams Street?
Off of, yes. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, the elevated water level in there, I actually canoed from Fin and Feather all the way up to the where the dam there at River Street. So
No,
I
I'm
was
talking
able to.
about Wildwood.
Oh, Wildwood. I know that there's an access off of Wildwood Ave and the one off of William Street.
Right. So that's the question. Are you familiar with both of them?
Yes.
The reason I'm asking is the firm that's doing the treatment is asking me where they can put the boat in.
Okay.
And is there a significant difference between the Williams and Wildwood access points?
The one off of William Street at Wildwood Park is very rough. Are they going to be using the airboat like they have in the past, or is it a different
They
group?
won't be using the airboat. I don't think you can get the airboat in there.
Okay. The ramp at Wildwood, coming out of Wildwood Park, is very unimproved. It's full of roots. It's very rough. It's suitable for a car top boat like what I've got.
Yeah.
Or a canoe, but if you're going to put anything bigger in there, it's much harder. The one off of Wildwood Ave is short and very steep, but the the residents say that it's on private property, and we haven't been able to determine if that's actually a town right of way or not. The only reference that I've been able to find on that as being a town right of way came from a 1982 Fish and Wildlife Department when they accessed the pond to do fish surveys in there.
So I know that Touchstone has access, and I don't know
Yes.
whether, is this the Touchstone access?
Yes.
All right, that's Touchstone property.
The resident that I met, he had his very first question was, "Am I with the school?" And I was saying it's a town right away, but he was insisting that it was private property. I thought Touchstone owned the island. I didn't know that they also own that ramp.
The island included access off of the other access from Wildwood.
Okay.
Ave. So I believe that it's Touchstone land. So if we use it, we would need to get permission from Touchstone, which I'm expecting wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, well, Sally, of course, she's retiring, so I don't know if that's going to be still valid. She's the one who actually told me about that access point, and said we could park right there by their access to the island. So
Did she refer to it as a town-owned land or Touchstone?
she said there's a town right of way there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I'd have to go back farther then. I do know that the land that they were gifted included some land on the other side of the island.
Okay. So, yeah, I just don't know.
And so my last question, I'm sorry, because I'm trying to resolve this for this firm. Has anybody ever put in from Red Rock?
I
Um,
have,
A long time ago.
yeah, in past years when you could get canoes and kayaks there, yeah. A lot
It's
of
also
times.
very steep, kind of wooded, and there's really no adequate spot to put a boat in. Yeah, behind Red Rocks is more suited to canoes and kayaks.
All right, well, I'm gonna follow. I called the firm that had been doing it for us to see if they would tell me where they were putting in. I'm just trying to get a sense of what to tell, the best access, what I could tell the firm that's doing it for the first time.
Yeah.
The other challenge is Taft Pond, which has very limited access as well.
Mhm. So I missed a little part there. I didn't know if you talked about it. Are you taking the kids out only on Pratt or on Wildwood also?
For time constraints, I think right now it's going to be strictly on Pratt, and it's just this month. It's just June. We have the two dates are the 3rd and the 12th. And let's say on the 3rd, we do the pH and the sampling at P2, which doesn't include collecting any actual water samplings. Or I could do, and on the 12th, take them out to P1 and actually do some collecting of water samples. We got some flexibility on what we could have them doing. And the good news is Lisa is trying to get at least one of them to intern for the committee for the summer, where they would come out with me every time we did sampling. So it would be, that would be basically their job, is to do sampling with the committee. And speaking of sampling, if anybody's interested in coming out and helping, I'm trying to do them around the middle of the month for consistency. And it's quite a bit of work for someone alone. Any assistance that could be rendered would be most welcome.
Okay. So you've got them for the 3rd and the 12th, and then you're gonna need somebody for the middle of the month?
For Wildwood, and access into Mill right now is a bit of a challenge, but it's only one site. And that's easily handled by one person because it's only one site.
Okay. Does it require any special knowledge or skill?
Can you write?
Yes, I can write. Can you read it? That's another question. I don't know. And for Mike, that's a definite no.
So
That was
other
a
than
joke.
that,
It was a joke.
the last thing on the agenda is the Blackstone Watershed Collaborative. They've been doing surveys of the culverts, all the culverts in Upton and Grafton. And they have they posted on their website all of the, I think there's 145 different culverts or something like that they noted in Upton. What they didn't have, which kind of surprised me, either that or it wasn't in there yet, is the culvert that runs under Main Street from coming out of Mill Pond. I did not see that on there. Of course, I was only,
That's a state culvert.
that's a state culvert, so that's different than the normal stormwater culverts.
Well, no, they were doing it on behalf of the town of Upton. So the town of
okay.
Upton has 140 culverts. They don't need to take on anybody else's.
Good
It's a
point.
state one because it's a state road, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that would explain why that's not on there, but it's some pretty interesting stuff. If you want
Yeah,
to,
we're expecting to get a prioritization report at the end of June.
some of the things that I saw on there, critical, it doesn't give a definition of what their analysis of the culverts is. Do you have any insight into that, Bill?
They sent me, they sent us a summary of the factors they were going to use. I'm not sure they gave us the points that were going to be assigned to each factor, but I could distribute that. It may have the points as well.
Because I was just, visiting the website. If you'd like, I can forward the link to that if anybody wants to take a look at it, if you're interested. Bill, you obviously already have it since DPW is involved in that project.
You want to send us a map of where all the culverts are in Upton?
Oh, it's not a map. It's a link to the findings of the collaborative that, with all the information on there. It's it's not top secret stuff or anything like that. There's just some interesting stuff, and there's a lot of culverts in this town.
I'd be interested to see that.
Okay.
Are there more things on the sampling plan documents that Mike sent out that we need to discuss? I know further down the list it talked about some things that needed further discussion. I don't know if we talked about them yet.
It was the question that I asked earlier, if we're happy with the sampling sites. And we definitely talked about the budget expenditures, trying to get all that hammered out. But I think we covered all the big chunks. I can't.
One thing it said stormwater sampling locations to be determined, needs more discussion about rainfall, location, surface grabs. I don't know. Do we get to all that?
Sally seems to be the one who has I'm going to say the most knowledge or interest in that. And I think I would like to get some more input from Sally on that before we tackle that. But that's definitely going to be we'll put that on for next month's meeting.
Great. Yeah, so are you still trying to go out on Tuesday nights when you go?
As far as doing the sampling, it's just, no, it's not a particular night. It's just, close to the middle of the month. Trying to make it closer to the middle of the month. I'm really flexible.
Okay.
Every day for me is a Saturday, so
Okay. So are you gonna, you looking at dates in June? Should we be looking at that? Should you want to let us know what you're thinking? What looks good? We want to look at the weather? I don't know.
and yeah, a lot of that's derived from the weather.
Right.
So no, right now I haven't looked any further than the 3rd or the 12th.
Okay. So you want to go the 12th is a Thursday, so the following week, it sounds like you want to do it.
And so let's see, this coming Saturday, we have a hazardous waste and shredding event going on at DPW. The following weekend, the 14th and 15th, the 14th is the ferry walk over at the
Okay.
Parklands over in Hopedale. I don't know if anybody's been to that. It's actually kind of cool. And Sunday, the 15th is Father's Day, so I'm already booked for that.
Are you
So
doing it on weekends or I thought you typically went during the week in the evening.
I can go anytime. I can go anytime. And like I said, if I know you like to go swimming over off of Perch Rock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and I don't know, has your swimming season started yet?
I think it might start Wednesday. Bill, when is treating the pond for weeds gonna happen?
At this point, it's scheduled to happen sometime next week.
Okay.
So do you have a particular day that would work best for you, Lori?
Well, Tuesday's typically a pretty good day.
Okay.
Sally should be done with work by then too, and I know she likes to go sometimes, but Gary was always your buddy, and now he doesn't,
Yes.
not doing it. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Well, if you would like to get some experience with it, then we can schedule something.
Okay, you want to schedule the 17th, and if it's a washout, we can do something different,
Yeah, that works for me.
right? It's plenty of time for a fallback plan, yep.
What time?
Well, you always had such a schedule. I thought you went at 6 o'clock on the third Tuesday of the month or something. So now you're throwing me all into disarray here. Okay. I don't know.
6 o'clock?
Is that good? 6
Works
o'clock?
for me.
Okay.
Okay. Then if we get everything done with the high school kids on the 3rd and the 12th, we'll tackle Wildwood. And you familiar very much with Wildwood Park off of William Street?
Well, I've gone off of Red Rock a number of times in the past and kayaked the whole thing a number of times. That's the only way I've ever gone.
Okay. Off of William Street, I think it's about 25 William Street. It looks like somebody's driveway. And I think the houses are 25 through 29 William Street. And that's that's the access point into Wildwood Park. You drive about
Oh,
100
I
feet
have been there.
down
have
that
been
driveway,
there.
and Wildwood Park's on the
forgot about
left-hand
that.
side.
Yeah, there's a town beach there.
Yes.
And I think I know the person who lives in that house there even.
Yep, it's right by the dam, and that's where we'll be throwing in.
Okay. What's the time frame? How many hours, 2 hours? What is it?
With Wildwood, it's probably going to take a couple of hours because there's 5 different spots, but it doesn't all have to be done in one sitting, as it were.
Okay.
Because we are eliminating some of the sampling as far as collecting water samples, the DO and the temperature and the pH, that takes, so yeah, probably an hour and a half.
Should we start earlier?
We can start earlier.
Okay, so you're saying that time would probably mostly only be Wildwood or Wildwood and Pratt?
No, probably just Wildwood.
Okay, because you think you have got everything you need from Pratt with the kids?
I'm hoping so, yes.
How long do you have them for? Like 50 minutes?
Yes.
I know. And you need help with that?
No, I can only put 2 people in the boat. So
And you're one of them, right?
I'm one of them. I'm planning on being the recorder and having the student do the actual measurements, taking the temp and the DO, and using the same procedures that Gary and I followed last year. We use a descending probe, 1 foot, 3 foot, 6 foot, 9 foot, 12 foot, and then coming back up, we also stop at those same intervals and get a second reading, because there's always some variance. And what's winding up on the spreadsheets that I'm sending to you folks is the average between the measurements at the 2 different spots. And Lisa Michael thought that was actually a pretty good thing as far as being scientifically valid.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just doing what we did last year.
Okay. Okay. 17th.
And if you want to start earlier, we can start earlier. Like I said, I'm very flexible.
We probably should start earlier.
5 o'clock then?
Yeah, maybe in case there's a problem, it needs to go longer.
Okay. All right.
Your
Oh,
house?
so- No,
Or do I meet
we'll
you
meet
at
over at
Wildwood?
Wildwood. We'll meet
Okay,
over at Wildwood.
okay. Meet at Wildwood.
So, anybody
Well,
have any
well,
other
same
things
thing.
that were not reasonably anticipated by the chairman 48 hours in advance?
Yeah, I have one other thing. Probably it would be good to be an agenda item next time. I can just show you. It has to do with the town's open space and recreation plan.
Okay.
If I could just share something with you guys again. So this is a page out of the existing plan. There's some section 9 is kind of an action plan, and it goes through 2026. The state has given us an option of extending the plan until 3 more years, basically, until 2030. And I think Concom's talked about a little bit, Open Space has talked about a little bit, and I've mentioned it to Recreation. So I think we're going to do it. These open space plans are a lot of work, and if we can avoid having to to do it, sooner, I'd rather have to do it later. Maybe someone else will have to do this. It's by 2030. But anyway, it gives us an opportunity. When we did this, there was no Lakes and Ponds Committee. You can see the organizations were Concom, Open Space, Land Stewardship, and Rec. So Dave and the rest of the Lakes and Ponds Committee, I think for this further interval, we could insert your committee into this plan if you want to. Why don't you think about it?
And
there are, you
figure
can
out something that we want to do on
Yeah, and
on
you can
it.
see there were some watershed water quality type things listed in the plan. And town-wide culvert stream connectivity survey. Guess what? It's being done, but in a different way. A lot of, don't look at this too closely because there's a lot of these things that were kind of aspirational that aren't getting done. But things are getting done, other things are getting done, and some of these things are getting done.
Is there a trail guidebook?
Like I said, don't look at it too close.
Never heard about a trail guidebook. Okay.
Uh,
Who
um,
needs it? We don't need it.
Certified
Mm.
vernal pools, that's ambitious.
That's something I think we're gonna do a little bit of that. Mary collected some data this year. There's another couple pages to this thing. I just wanted to
Oh, God.
show this page but anyway, I mean, we could add your committee as an organization, and then, you know, maybe add some tasks, some actions, or anyway, I think maybe talk about it next week. We have to get, or next month, we have to get this back to the state by September. So we've got a couple months to work on this.
Can we put our fishing survey on there?
Do
Doing
that.
fishing
Well,
surveys? Would that make sense?
sure, you could put the Lake Pratt Pond, Mill Pond management plan on there.
We could work with
sampling.
students.
The sampling, working with students, maybe a wildwood management plan towards the end of this period, you know. It's open, whatever you'd like to do.
So we need to be finding more people for our committee. We're at 5 and we're supposed to be at 7. Is that right?
Correct.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I did mention to the high school students that we have a couple of committee spots available. So well, hopefully then they'll have some interest in it beyond just, you know, this is what we're doing for AP Science.
How about that woman who came to our committee meeting? She seems somewhat interested.
What was her name? What was her? Chrissy
Kristen
Cormier.
is-
I haven't heard from her since that one time.
Okay.
I have not heard from her since that one time she came to the meeting.
I can put it on Sustainable Upton. That might be somebody on there might care about this.
Okay.
Write that down somewhere. Okay.
Bill Mikes asked for the agenda item, just twigged something else. Last month, you had mentioned about including lakes and ponds in one of the other town committees that you're affiliated with. Can you refresh my memory on that?
No,
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank.
All right. Well, it's probably in the recording somewhere.
Yeah, that might come back to me. If it does, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry to lose Gary.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry to lose Gary. He
Yeah.
offered, it felt like he offered a lot. We only had a little bit of crossover time. It seemed like he offered a lot.
Well, he's the chaplain for the police and the fire station. He's got a lot of other, and you know, he's got his fingers in a lot of pies right now. Other items of discussion. Have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All right. And hey, motion carries, and I wish you all a good night.